Alright, today we're going to be talking about intuition, the sixth unseen sense. So, at birth, they tell you there are only five senses to the human body, but that's a complete fallacy. There are actually six senses to the human body, and intuition is the sixth sense. The way you can train intuition, there are a few ways that you can use intuition. Intuition can be used almost anywhere, especially when picking things from picking things at a grocery store to talking as well. And then genuinely, you should actually always keep intuition by your side as a useful tool. So, the one way to train your intuition is to train the right hemisphere of your brain. Most people are left hemisphere dominant, which makes them do work logically and makes them think logically and makes them more I don't know how to explain it. Just they become more logical and they operate more of from a pragmatic point of view rather than a creative point of view, like the right hemisphere of the brain. The right hemisphere of the brain focuses on creativity, abstract movement, and basically it's the creative side of the brain that handles intuition. So the intuition is from the right hemisphere, and the left hemisphere handles a lot of stuff. So let's talk about the ways to actually train intuition. One way you can train intuition is to simply focus on your peripheral vision. So if you just, I'll give you another way after this, but you can just just train the peripheral vision. So just look at an object around in your room, focus on that object, and now focus on everything in your peripheral vision and learn how to just look at it without looking at it. And once you learn how to look at your peripheral vision from like another eye on the side of your head, almost like that, like just looking around your peripheral vision, you're going to realize that you can actually train your intuition to actually realize what is unseen. So that's the first way. The second way, which is a little bit more crude, which is where you generally observe people walking. And I do this as a psychologist a lot. I observe people walking and I decide what type of psychological archetype they fit into by their gait. So one way you could do that is just look. You can just sit on a park bench, just watch people act and come to conclusions with it based on your pure intuition. So you can conclude, oh, this person must be a boxer, or he's a gymnast, or maybe he's maybe not more of an insecure or maybe introverted person by his closed off body language. And you'll train your intuition slowly over time by just observing people naturally, and don't try to think or put archetypes onto the person. Try to observe the person naturally in nature, and you'll know what intuition is. And now let's actually talk about what the definition of intuition actually also means. It's the creative way of understanding a point in nature. So let's say there was a kid, and he was trapped in his house all day, and he always wanted to go outside. Okay, and then so let's say, okay, how do I explain this? Let's say he goes outside and he finally sees a tree, and he can either understand the tree in two different ways. The first way is to logically do it from the left hemisphere of the brain, which would be to measure each leaf of the tree. Let's say he had to draw the tree. Okay, he comes outside of his house. It's been 5 years since he's outside. He comes out of the house, looks at the first tree, and goes, "I must draw it." And then the first way that you can do it is to measure each leaf with a ruler. Go around each part of the tree, measure its circumference, measure its width, measure its roots, measure its this, and go mentally insane thinking about the logical way to understand the tree. The other way is the intuitive way to understand the tree, which is to simply see it and then understand it intuitively as a part of nature. So the way that you would want to observe it would be intuitively, because if you're planning to draw it, you don't want to measure every single part of the tree and go mentally mad. So you actually learn to intuitively understand what the tree is. And that's what you do. So you generally look at the tree for like a good minute and you just go, wow, I generally understood something about life today, which is the tree. And you can generally understand it as intuition. So your intuition will store in your brain what a tree is. And it'll even give you a suggestion later of like what type of tree you'll draw. If you have 20 trees of different kinds, you might draw the tree that you intuitively understood the most, perhaps. But you get the point I'm making, where intuition is the way to creatively understand in almost a faster point of view, and the logical way is to be like the more structured, taking out a ruler and gently busting your own balls to actually figure out how to draw that tree. So that's what intuition is. Intuition is the creative way of understanding life from a different perspective. And that way, you don't not even call it a tree. You'll probably just give it no name, and you'll just understand it to be a part of nature if you understand the whole tree intuitively. But yeah, that's my consensus on intuition. If you guys want training guides for intuition, you should generally just meditate on the right hemisphere of the brain. And to do that, you're gonna have to meditate on your temple, which is the temple of your head right here, also known as Jedi temple, which is very interesting. You'll find out all that stuff later though. But you're actually going so. Yeah, go on. Yeah, we're going so far into this. I'm realizing you actually got mad. Yeah, by the way, I uploaded a 2 minute and a 30 minutes, 2 minute and 30-second video of this, but they genuinely got mad and made mine into a short because it was below 3 minutes and then we get into a short. So now I'm going hardcore on this video. So so you guys will be grateful. There's the amount of liquid gold I'm dropping right now is quite high, but generally, the other way to do it is to meditate on the right hemisphere of the brain. And to do that, you need to quiet your logical mind by meditating on silence. So you can just say, Om. And meditate on the right hemisphere. And you have to meditate on the silence after the Om, and you will start getting better at it. So that's one way to learn intuition. Okay, thanks for watching. I got very angry that YouTube turns my videos into reels if it's not like below 3 minutes. I made mine's double. So I'll see you guys later. Peace out.